Welcome back to Let's Clone. My name would be Stephen French, and I just filmed this whole part without realizing that my microphone wasn't working. But fortunately, it's a quick part, so let's get through it again. In this part, we're going to finally put in our camera, as well as fixing a bug with Topi that I found yesterday. So let's do that. First up, I want to show you the bug that I found, so then we can fix it and make a little more sense of it. It's for when Topi is trying to bring a piece of ice back home, or no, bring an ice from home to the hole, and then we kill the ice and we kill the Topi. You'll see. So he's running back, get that ice, he's coming back, just hold swing, we're gonna break the ice, and then we kill the Topi. Bug. Right here on the if ice is broken at Topi step event 1, line 23. So we come into here, Topi step 1, line 23. The error is on if ice is not broken. The issue that we're having here is we only check this for if ice does not equal no one. When we create a block of ice, this ice in particular, is just a variable that Topi is aware of, and it just points to the object of the ice block that he is pushing. The issue that we're having is we're breaking the ice block, but we're not telling Topi that his pointer variable should change as well. So he thinks he's pushing something, but there's nothing there, and then we're trying to look at that nothing to see its broken state. Of course, it's going to give us a bug every time. So the simplest solution for this, with everything else, you can solve it in many ways. But the simplest is when we hit the Topi, we're not even going to worry about when we break the ice, because Topi doesn't actually need to know if the ice that he's pushing is real or not. He only needs to know in this situation. But when we hit the Topi, whether he's holding ice or not, we're just going to give a little reminder that that ice variable is nobody. And we can fix it. So we're gonna hop on up. Can't get there in time? I can. Swing in, we break it. We gotta, I guess, animate that still. He goes up the screen, no issue. He comes through, he can kill us. We are golden. The next is something that I already fixed, but again, I did the whole recording without my microphone on, so I'm just gonna talk you through it. Pretty simple. We have an issue with our mountain background, which yeah, I guess if you want, I'm going to update the one that's in the asset file, so it'll be this one. But the issue that we had is that this bottom layer of ice was 16 pixels tall. It took up, I guess, 2 row sizes. And that just kind of screws everything up, and that's not how it looks in the emulator that I've been playing. So I just cut off the bottom. To do that easily, I'm going to cut off this as well and then undo it. I just went to transform, resize canvas. I took off 8, which would be what, like 866? No, 4. So I just took off 8, I glued this guy up to the top, and then it just chopped off that bottom 8 pixels. Undo it though, because we're good now. But yeah, if you don't want to do it that way, and for some reason just feel like copying it from the file, it'll be there for you. 872 would be the new size. With that, we need to come down into our actual room and change that to 872. We're gonna come back to here in a bit, but let's go through and start onto the actual camera for this, and we'll get done with that pretty quickly. You will also see in the asset file this little 2-colored square. It is just green. Well, I guess the square is 256 by 256. The green is, I think it was 160 high, and the red is 96 high. The green is just gonna be so we can see where our collision mask is, and we're actually gonna make this object invisible when we're actually using it in the game. Basically, the collision mask drops down 96, just so the red is outside of collision, the green is in collision. Use different colors if you want. Use this one, reverse the colors, I don't care. It doesn't make any difference. That's just what I wanted to see. And we're gonna make a camera object for it. Object, camera. Let's give it this, and we're not gonna do anything with it yet. We're gonna put it in the game, kind of show you how it's supposed to work, and then we'll get there after. But come in here, grab that object camera, place it right over everything. So it should be lined up to the bottom of the ice, right to the edges of the world, and you'll see that, oops, the green is right on top of the tier 4's floor. Perfect. Now we need to make that in our view. We need to make this camera our actual object, and you guys will actually have this set to 0. I'll show you that in a second. Let's remove this grid. So we have this object that is our camera. We have our camera following it, which these numbers used to be 200, they're now 256, 256. So our camera will not move above, below, or anywhere beyond this image. It'll be locked into it in the center with a vertical speed of 3. So as the camera climbs, it doesn't just instantly jump, it's going to move up at 3 pixels per frame. If you zoom out, you'll see a white box on top. That is because of this. We've set a view in the room of 256, 256, but its origin is 0, 0. We need to make this guy 616, so it's starting at the bottom of the map. If we don't do that, then you have to wait for that camera to zoom down at 3 pixels, then we see it where it is, and then we can play. Skip that, just start the camera down the bottom, 256, 256, -1, 3, Gucci gang. Now the behavior that we want for this camera is pretty simple. We want, one second, let me just get this there. We want for when Popo is outside of the collision mask, we want to move up by, I guess, 1 tier. But in the actual, I'm saying but a lot. In the emulator itself, it's not just when you jump beyond the collision mask, it's when you jump and you land on the tier above. So we're going to do that. Pretty simple. Just follow along. You'll understand it as we go. Follow Popo Poopo with camera. That's good enough. So I want to do first off an if instance exists for object Popo, because we don't want to make any stupid errors. Just in case we kill him off, we want the camera to I guess retain where it is. So we're only going to change its position in this instance. And then we're going to say if not place meeting, so if Popo is above our collision mask, x, y, object Popo, and object Popo dot vertical speed is equal to 0. So he's not jumping or falling, and yeah, he's above us. If that's the case, we're just going to do y minus equals 48 is the magic number. So the camera's going to move up 48 pixels immediately. Popo will obviously now be inside the collision mask, so it's not going to move any further. And the camera will catch up to it at 3 pixels a frame, which I don't know if it's the correct speed. It's close enough. Playing the emulator and playing this, ours runs a little bit slower. I think they would have like a faster gravity, so you would need like a higher jump value, but we do jump to the appropriate height. So for the most part, it feels very much like the original. Some improvements could be made. Will I make them? Probably not. But we land and shunk. We just jump it up to the top. Shunk. I'm just going to one time get us to the top of the mountain. It gets a little bit finicky at the top. I think I'm going to need to play the emulator a bit more to kind of figure out what's going on. But for the absolute most part, we are good to go. I hate this D-pad though. This controller is pretty garbage. So hop up onto this guy. That isn't good, isn't good. Well, there's a bug that we're going to have to eventually fix. We got that. I probably could have made it to that next tier. We're getting it. Bam. Popo, top of the map. Doesn't really matter that it doesn't fit anymore. It's good. The last thing that you want to do is take that camera object and make it invisible so we don't see it anymore. So that would be everything that I'd like to cover in this video. Again, just we fixed that one bug with the Popo, or with the Topi. If you find any other bugs, please let me know and I'll try my best to fix them in future parts. We've thrown in our camera and yeah, they both work pretty well. The next step, I'm probably going to throw in the condor, so that intro scene where the condor flies and brings an eggplant up to the top of the mountain. I'm going to do that just as a third room that only handles that animation, and then we're going to pass into the game room so we can begin playing. So if anyone wants to try their hand at making that code work and then comparing your code to mine in the next part, I encourage that challenge. That's about it. I'll see you next time. Enjoy the fuck out of your day.